Hi there, welcome to No Nonsense Whiskey. My name's VinPF, and on today's episode we're going to be doing another sample Saturday. Now these little special episodes are kind of irregular episodes when I cover wee samples like these three that I've got here. And basically just to give you kind of extra episodes. These are kind of less edited episodes, a bit longer maybe sometimes, where I cover samples that have been sent to me by the industry or whatnot, because you know they're a bit wee, so it's hard to do kind of a full review on these kind of individually. So it makes sense to do them in series, give you guys an idea about what these brands are like, and if you might want to go and check them out. That's the fair thing. So as I said earlier, so today we have, hopefully, get right up there. This is MacNair's Lum Reek, which I'm given to understand is a kind of old Scotch term, which is Lang may your Lum Reek. Sorry about my murdering of that there, but that basically means long may your chimney smoke, which I think is a nice little thing. It's kind of traditional Hogmanay kind of toast, let's say. We've got three here today, and this is the first one. This is the Lum Reek. They're all blended. Well, I'll go into that in just a moment. The first one's just called Peated. They're all peated. The second one's called Peated 12-year-old. And the third is the Peated 21-year-old. They also have slight differences in ABV. This is a 46, the first one. And then a 46 again, and then a 48. Very interesting. And also some kind of varying degrees on price here as well. So the first one is around 40, second one around 50, and then the third one around about £120. So there's not too much in this one, these two here, and there's quite a lot of a difference in the top one. But, you know, we're talking about a 12 to a 21 year, of course. Now, as I said, these are blended, and I don't know the exact proportions or anything like that, but what they're saying is that it's a blend of Islay whiskey, Speyside whiskey, and of course, GlenAllachie. Now, this McNair's brand is a small branch of the GlenAllachie family, so they're kind of mixing in with the GlenAllachie malts as well, which I think is quite nice. I actually haven't covered any of their stuff on the channel just yet, but I am going to soon enough. That's my word on that one. So these ones here have all been finished in a different way. Obviously, the first one is a no-age statement, so we don't know how long that's been around for. All the rest of them are kind of, you know, the standard rules, minimum of a 12-year for all of these different things, and a minimum of 21 years. I'll go into each of them as I drink each one, because I don't want to just waft information at you right at the start. But of course, all this information is just easily gleaned off the internet, so if you are interested in this brand, do go and check out the kind of Lum Reek website, and you can find out about them from yourself. As far as I'm aware, they're quite available, especially Master of Malt is a great place to go and get these things. I've dropped a link in the description below if you're interested in having a look there. So let's have a look at the peated one. All of these are non-chill filtered and natural coloured, so we can use the old new camera zoom to have a nice good look at that. This one has got the most kind of influences of different cask types out of all three of them. It's got some first fill ex-bourbon, it's got some Oloroso sherry, it's got some virgin oak in there as well, which is interesting, and it's got some red wine cask in there as well. Now, because it's a no age statement, as we'll see, we'll get to the rest of these, it's probably a little bit more lively than the others. For me, it's obviously peated. It's not the most peated smell I've ever smelled in the world. It's not kind of like ashy or medicinal. It's just a really nice, warming, almost smoked meat kind of smell. Like a smoky bacon kind of thing. Really nice. It's quite sweet, actually, in fact, as well. Let's have a go on the palate. Oh, that's tasty. That's very tasty. It's a very interesting dram. I mean, if I'd have tried this without reading the kind of website information, I wouldn't have been able to kind of pick out loads of different notes. Like, I'm not really getting much sherry notes in there. Not really getting much red wine cask notes, the kind of notes that I would associate with those kind of finishes in this at all. But obviously it's creating some well-rounded flavour profiles on that. Let's have another little sip. Yeah, that's really quite tasty. It's it's clearly a peated whiskey. Very interesting indeed. Have a little cleanse in between, because we're going to head over to the next one up now. This is the 12-year-old. I'll bring that up as well so you can see. Obviously, this isn't what the actual labels look like. This is just my rendition. I think I might have put a good thumbnail together, but we shall see. Who knows? So again, natural coloured non-chill filtered, so you can see a slight difference in the colour here, getting probably a little bit more influenced by the wood. This one, a little bit different, so it's still got the first fill ex-bourbon influence, it's still got the red wine influence, no virgin oak this time, and also a PX sherry influence instead of an Oloroso sherry influence. I have to say I'm not really up on my sherries, but one thing I do know, although I couldn't tell you why, I do tend to prefer PX finishes and influences when we're talking about peated whiskey than I do Oloroso, but I actually genuinely don't know why. It's just something that I've noticed in my own personal journey. So straight away in the nose, this seems a lot softer to me. I'm getting more smoke rather than peat on this one, on the nose. And there's definitely some kind of sweetness going on there. It's almost like a kind of candied sweet nose. Sugary, boiled sweets, that kind of thing. Let's try on the palate. Okay, so again, the smoke is coming through. It's not really... It's clearly peat influence, but for me, it's not very earthy or very medicinal, very extremely what I would call peaty. It's more smoky is what I'm getting from this, which is really nice. It's really kind of like a nice silky smokiness. For me, although I'm not getting huge amounts of this kind of PX and the red wine influence on this, again, it's just a really well-rounded whiskey. I'm getting a kind of drying element on the back end, which is something I usually get from PX stuff, so maybe that's where that's coming from. That's really tasty. And I have to say, very different already from this to this. I would wager, I mean, obviously we're talking about different cask types, but I would wager the proportions of the different whiskies. Remember earlier I said that it was a part Islay, part Speyside, part GlenAllachie. So I imagine the proportions are slightly different from each one as well, but it's hard to say so far which one I would prefer, because I would be in the mood for either one depending on the day. You know, some days I'm looking for a really good bold peat flavour, and then this one would fit the bill. Some days I'm not so much in the mood for that, but I'd still want that kind of extra depth that peat brings, and then I would go for this one. So for me, they're kind of interchangeable depending on my mood right now, and I have to say I'd be quite happy with both of those so far. Let's have another cleanse, and we'll have a look at the big 21-year-old. There you go. That's my little label. Again, not the label that you'll actually get on the bottle, just these wee samples. So this is the 21. As you can see, a lot more colour coming from this one now, which is pretty cool. This one, again, slightly different. Ooh, this one's got, going back to the Oloroso sherry, the virgin oak and the red wine influences, but no first fill bourbon influence as well, going straight for the kind of virgin oak. That's really bizarre, because obviously having 21 years in the cask has really mellowed this one out, because my nose isn't getting much smoke or peat from this on the nose at all, but also really low on the sherry notes. Like I like it to be either way with sherry. I like it to be either complete sherry bomb or it to be really subtle. I don't like the in-between ones too much, but this one's very subtle and I like that a lot. Some kind of vanilla-y notes coming from that virgin oak, I should imagine. Again, not picking up too much red wine influence on this, but very nice nose. Let's try on the palate. Okay. Interesting. Oh, I'm going to have another little sip of that. Oh, that's really lovely. That's really lovely. Right at the start, I have to say, so you take a sip and you're kind of just waiting for things to happen. It isn't like overly anything. It isn't overly sweet, isn't overly peated, isn't overly sherried. And then out of nowhere, big bold spiciness comes out of there. We're talking, I want to say, it's not quite cinnamon, it's more like black peppery kind of spiciness. but there's also some kind of chocolatey vibes going on there, really understated. Some kind of fruity, kind of dried fruits, probably the sherry influence coming through, but yeah, that's really lovely. I have to say that's really lovely. Now, when we're considering these three as individuals, I mean, clearly for me, the 21-year-old is the superior whiskey out of these. Sometimes you'll find that like you get more bang for your buck if you spend a bit less. Sometimes, you know, on the grand curve of things, value and age tend to kind of get a bit silly. But this is clearly the most superior whiskey here on the table. It's really lovely. For my personal budget, I'd probably stick with these two because they're a bit more affordable. I mean, you can get both of them for a little bit less than this one. But if you've tried these and you like them and you want to kind of push the boat out a little bit and get something a bit special, I think you won't be disappointed with this. That's really quite tasty. I'm just going to go back and try each one in turn. Like I said, these videos are a bit more long form, so... And I'm going to try not cleansing in between and see what kind of influence that brings out. I'd be very surprised if that isn't Kahlila. It tastes very much like Kahlila. It's kind of got that almost briny saltiness to it. Lovely. Love it. Oh, I mean, even doing that in quick succession. Remember I said this one was kind of like heavy on the peat in comparison. And this one is a little bit more understated. This one just overshadows them both. Straight off the bat, like it's absolutely flooded my mouth with all these extra spiciness and these extra flavours. Maybe the extra 2% ABV makes a difference as well. Really lovely. All three actually very nice indeed. But there you go, that's my kind of overview on the MacNair's Lum Reeks. Hopefully that's piqued your interest in this brand, because I didn't know about these guys before they got in touch and said, do you want to try these samples? Of course I want to try the samples. Please do send samples over. These are very interesting whiskies and something I'm going to look at, maybe trying to get like some full reviews going of these so I can go a little bit more in depth into each one rather than the overview of these. Hopefully that's piqued your interest. Let me know if you've tried these in the comments below, because I would love to know what you think about these as well. And if you haven't tried them, are you interested in them? Let me know. Thanks for watching today's video. All the names you can see scrolling across the screen right now are supporters of the channel, either through Patreon or through the YouTube join button, and they're who make these videos possible. If you want to help support the channel, please do go check out Patreon or hit the join button below. Thank you.